Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's English shadowing practice. I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're going on a journey to a beautiful new city. This script is designed for A2 to B1 level learners, focusing on common travel vocabulary, positive feelings, and clear sentence structure. Listen carefully, try to match my pace and intonation, and repeat after me. Remember, the goal is to sound natural, so let's breathe life into these words. Get ready to explore Viridia. Let's begin. The alarm clock buzzed early, a sound that usually meant a difficult morning, but today it was a welcome signal. Today was the day I would finally visit Viridia, a city I had only ever seen in pictures and travel guides. It was a big step for me, my first solo trip to a place where I knew absolutely no one, and where a different language was spoken. I felt a mix of nerves and excitement, a pleasant fizz in my stomach. The adventure was finally beginning. I quickly finished packing my small blue suitcase. I double-checked the contents. Everything I needed for the weekend was inside. Comfortable shoes for walking miles, a good jacket for the cool evenings, a camera to capture the sights, a water bottle, and a city map. I checked my passport and ticket one last time, making sure they were safely in my inner jacket pocket before leaving my apartment. The taxi ride to the airport was fast, and soon I was walking through the large, busy terminal. I found the correct check-in desk and then waited patiently at the departure date. Looking around, I noticed many other people also traveling, some with large families, others alone like me, reading or listening to music. It made the world feel a little smaller and definitely a little braver. The flight was smooth, thankfully. I had a window seat, which was a special treat. I spent the 2 hours reading a book about the history of architecture and occasionally looking out the window at the white, fluffy clouds below, which looked like giant cotton balls scattered across a blue carpet. I thought about what I would see first, the old port, the famous clock tower. After 2 hours, the pilot announced our descent. I felt the familiar pressure change in my ears as the plane dropped lower and lower. As the plane broke through the cloud cover, I saw Viridia for the first time. It was a vast, beautiful landscape of red clay rooftops and large green parks, all connected by busy silver ribbons of road and the blue sparkle of the sea. Landing felt like stepping into a new world. The airport was modern, airy, and clean. I followed the signs for baggage claim and immigration. The immigration officer was polite and smiled, handing back my passport with a welcoming phrase in the local language, which I tried to repeat in my mind. Outside, the air was warm and smelled different, a wonderful mix of sea salt, blooming jasmine flowers, and perhaps a hint of strong coffee. I took the airport express train into the city center. This was the most important and perhaps most challenging part of the initial journey, figuring out the local transport system. I had to pay close attention to the station names, the colors of the lines, and the directions given on the signs, which were often in 2 languages. I managed to buy the correct ticket using a machine, a small victory that boosted my confidence. I found my small rented room near the historical quarter after a short walk from the central train station. It wasn't fancy or expensive, but it was perfectly clean, cozy, and had a large window that looked down onto a narrow, cobbled street. The sounds of the city were already audible: distant church bells, the rumble of a trolley car, and the chatter of people talking downstairs. After quickly dropping my bags and hanging up my jacket, I knew I couldn't waste a minute of this precious weekend. My mission was simple: explore and absorb the city's atmosphere. My first stop was the main square, Plaza del Sol, which translates to the Square of the Sun. It was exactly what I had hoped for. The plaza was alive with people, activity, street music, and the wonderful smell of fresh street food and roasted nuts. Children were chasing pigeons and laughing loudly. An old man with a long gray beard was playing a small melodic guitar, and dozens of friends were sitting at cafe tables under colorful umbrellas, drinking coffee and talking fast. I bought a small sweet pastry from a brightly decorated cart. It was called a pastel de luna. It tasted wonderfully sweet and spicy at the same time, and found a stone bench to sit and watch the vibrant world go by. I watched an artist sketching portraits of tourists and listened to the rhythm of the city. I spent the rest of the afternoon simply walking, allowing myself to get a little lost on purpose. I followed the small winding streets that branched off the main avenues, discovering beautiful hidden courtyards and ancient stone walls covered in thick, bright green ivy. The architecture was stunning, a blend of old-world charm and more modern, colorful buildings. I practiced my English by repeating new descriptive words and phrases in my head, focusing on the correct rhythm and intonation. I spoke softly to myself. Historical quarter, narrow street, ancient stone, cobbled pathway, quiet fountain. I felt a deep sense of freedom and independence I rarely felt when I was at home, stuck in my usual routine. I wasn't just observing the city as a tourist, I felt I was part of it, even if only for a short, magical weekend. As the late afternoon turned into evening, the sun began its slow journey toward the horizon, painting the sky in deep orange, purple, and soft pink colors. The light hit the old stone buildings, making them glow with a soft, golden color. I reached a high point in the city, a small park on a hill that offered a sweeping panoramic view of Viridia below. From up there, I could see the layout of the city clearly, understanding how the river separated the old town from the new districts. I took several photographs, trying to capture the amazing quality of the light, but knew that the real picture would only exist in my memory. I realized that the true joy of travel wasn't necessarily about seeing every famous museum or historical monument mentioned in the guidebook. Instead, it was about these small, unplanned adventures and the profound feeling of knowing I could navigate a completely new place on my own, relying on my own sense of direction and observation skills. Viridia was more than just a picture on a postcard now. It was a real memory, a story filled with unique sounds, smells, and feelings that I could take back with me and share. As the late afternoon turned into evening, the city lights began to switch on, twinkling across the vast urban expanse. The plaza I had visited earlier was now even busier, filled with people enjoying their evening meal and conversation. I smiled, feeling happily tired from the day's extensive walking, but incredibly happy and energized by the new surroundings. I consulted the map one last time and started looking for a quiet traditional restaurant for dinner, one that wasn't too crowded. I was ready to try some local dishes. The rest of the weekend was still waiting, full of promise, and I was eager for the next day's explorations. I knew this trip, though short, would be a defining moment of independence and discovery. Great job! You have successfully completed this detailed shadowing passage about a trip to Viridia. I hope you found the language useful and the story interesting. Remember, the key to shadowing is repetition, so go back and practice the parts where you struggled with the pronunciation or speed. Focus on those words like excitement, historical, and adventure. Keep practicing, and your English fluency will improve very quickly. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more shadowing scripts. See you next time, and happy studying!